idea. I'm gonna owe it strictly to my publicist, Prashant, because he's the one who makes the magic happen. So I came to America, I came to India because I watched a film called Maine Pyar Kiya, and I fell in love with a character named Prem. And I was 16, so I had a license to do idiot things. Idiotic things, and I did not enjoy any aspect of being on doing films. I had no interest in acting. I would skip all my dance rehearsals. Sarojji used to be so mad at me at all times because she was like, "Tumne phir dance rehearsal miss ki." She would get so mad at me, but I got a chance to work with the top stars. I call it pure luck. I mean, from Sanju to Salman to Saif to Mithunda to Sunil to Omji. Again, I can't emphasize what a experience it was to work with Omji. It was brilliant. So yeah, it was pure luck. I ended up doing 10 feature films. I worked with Chi. I mean, he's the best. He's amazing. What a wonderful soul, what a wonderful person. But my favorite remain to date, Nitunda and Sunil. They're the nicest, kindest people. They were so kind to me, and I will never forget them. And they will always hold a very close place, dear place in my heart for them. So Salman at that time had just begun his home production, and he was looking for a leading lady to star opposite him, and it was called Buland, and we went to Kathmandu, to Nepal, to shoot for the film. And unfortunately something happened. I was too young. I was 16 at the time. I was brand new in the industry, but I knew that there was some problems with the producers, and somehow the film was shelved. So yeah, it was a metaphor to our relationship. I'd like to say that. I have not spoken to Salman in 5 years because I think it's healthy to move on, and you know, I have moved on and he has moved on. I don't know how many girlfriends he's had since I left in December of 1999, but I wish him all the best. I know his NGO is doing brilliant work, and I'm proud of his Being Human Foundation. But for me, psychologically, it is healthy. It is healthier for me to not be in touch with him, and it's good to know that he's in a good place. He's happy, and that's all I care about. Now, as far as being in touch with the people that I worked with, I'm in touch with Sunil through WhatsApp now and then. I'm in touch. I'm very close to Zeenat because Zeenat was living right opposite me in Mount Mary. I would see her time to time again, you know, getting in and out of her car. We would say hello. She was also a frequent at Salman's house, so I would see her there. And outside of Zeenat and I think Sunil I spoke with, I did speak with Vivek not too long ago, and through WhatsApp, and he said that's a real blast from the past. I just wanted to say hello to him. And he used to actually teach me when the days I did decide to go for my dance rehearsals. Vivek was my teacher. He used to help me rehearse. Sure, I think Zeenat Aman and Parveen Babi, who actually both of them I grew up on in Pakistan, they were my mom's favorites. And I think Zeenat, for example, was very vociferous. She was very bold. She was very sexy. She was proud of her body. She had no qualms in showing her body. And she gave us women a voice that we did not have, and that was being suppressed and repressed because we live in a patriarchal society. And the same thing with Parveen Babi. She was the first woman to be on the cover of Times magazine, and she was, I think it was 1973. But they were stunning, and it's such a. I really think that if Parveen were around in this generation, where someone like Deepika is speaking about mental ailments and trying to eradicate the stigma about mental ailments, I think Praveen would have been able to get the help that she needed, because it's very evident. My background is psychology, and I know immense about mental disorders. I have immense knowledge on that. I think it's very evident that she was suffering from schizophrenia, and she could have received the treatment and the medication, and she would still be alive today. It's so sad. It's just so devastatingly sad, because I blame the society. I blame us. We create these stigmas against gay rights and against gay marriage, and against domestic violence, speaking up about child sexual abuse. There was a beautiful movie, I don't know if you watched it, Bharti, but I think it was one of, if I'm not mistaken, it was the first time that Indian cinema depicted child sexual abuse. It was called Monsoon Wedding. I don't know if you saw it.
Yes, I have seen it, yes.
I forget, and I feel embarrassed, but I forget who it was directed by.
Meera Nair.
What a beautiful movie. And we need to make more movies like that. We need more films on domestic violence and sexual abuse of children and human trafficking. And, we need more substantial cinema. I'm not knocking down mainstream cinema, because the masses enjoy that. The masses are the ones who are suffering, and they don't want to go depressing. But I get back, when I was in India, I saw a beautiful film called Fire. And I remember, oh my God, the cinemas were burned down, and it was just ridiculous. And look how far we've come. Look at the progression. Like someone like Sushant, who's doing so well. And it's just, but we're still not there yet. We still need same-sex marriage to be allowed. Love is love. It's just, we're born this way, to quote Lady Gaga. We're born this way. So we have a long way to go still, and especially with domestic violence, because in our culture, whether it's Pakistan or India, I deem it both to be the same. It's just a stupid line that Lord Mountbatten, if he were alive, I would like to give him a piece of my mind, because he really messed things up. So it's the same culture, it's the same khana, it's the same food, the same clothes, it's the same movies. We grew up on Hindi cinema. Like, it's just so stupid that there are these barriers, and it's all political. It's really dumb. So in the present generation, I would compare, I think, the most bold, beautiful, talented actress who's a crossover actress, a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. I would compare her to the time from back in the day to Zeenat Aman. I think they have a lot of similarities, and in terms of being very vociferous, very bold, and I kudos to Priyanka. What she has obtained, accomplished, no one has done that. Nobody. And she's gorgeous. She's stunning. She's happy. She's a go-getter. She's an empowered woman in the true sense. She's a depiction of an empowered woman. It was during the time when I was with Salman, and Salman's family and his sister had to deliver something to Dilip Saab's house. And it was very brief, and Saira auntie was there. It was just, salam, dua, just very short. But he was such a kind soul, and he was so sweet, and it was devastatingly sad for me to learn of his demise. It was really, really sad. We lost a legend. We lost, I was saying that there's not one actor who hasn't tried to copy his methods of acting. It could be anyone, but there's no actor like him, and it's a huge loss, and it's really, really sad. Absolutely not, but I do plan on directing a web series about. I want domestic violence, human trafficking, and sexual abuse of children highlighted in this web series. And I'm in the talks with a US network, which I can't disclose at the moment, about this web series. So I want to go behind the camera. I was horrible in front of the camera when I was a kid. Why would I want to do that now? I love watching Rajesh Khanna songs. I'm still obsessed with Rajesh Khanna. My mom used to love Amitabh Bachchan. I used to love Rajesh Khanna. I remember when I was 10, I told my mom, I was like, I want to marry Rajesh Khanna. And my mom was like, you've gone completely bonkers. Like, you're 10 years old. And, but my old films, sometimes when I feel nostalgic, I watch all my films with Sunil and Mitunda. Yes, I miss India so much, but here's the dilemma. So I was born in Pakistan. So every time I apply for the application, the visa, it says list country of origin, even though I'm an American. So I have dual citizenship, Pakistani and American, because my father's in Pakistan. God forbid something happens to him, I should be able to fly there. So I need my Pakistani passport. So every time I put country of origin Pakistan, it's like a gazillion red flags start coming out of the computer. So the only way I can come to India is if someone is getting married. So Bharti, get married and send me the invite. If I apply for a tourist visa, I've applied 3 times, I've been denied. Unfortunately, I think I've applied always when there's some sort of, altercation or something going on the border. So I have to make sure when everyone is like doing the march every morning and peacefully, I have to apply like right at that point in time. But my goal ultimately is to bring no more tears to India, because there's so much domestic violence in India. And I was a kid, I was so naive, and I was such a kid that I didn't realize that there's a place called Mangla Hall in Juhu. And I don't know if it's still there, but right next to that, there were all these young girls in saris getting dressed up, and they were going in auto rickshaws with men. And that was human trafficking. But I had no idea what human trafficking was. I was just a kid. And now in hindsight, I remember, and now I'm like, I want to go back to Mangla Hall and go to that brothel and shut it down with the help of police. So, and outside of missing India, yes, I miss pav bhaji, I miss biryani, I miss Elko Market. Is that still there? I think. I want to go to Vindhyachal and look at my old apartment. I want to go to Mount Mary. I want to go to Shiv Sagar. I want to go to Haji Ali because they had the best milkshakes. Oh my God. So yes, I do miss India a lot. Sure, I have no qualms. I've been very vocal. I found a voice 3 years ago due to a friend of mine who said that you have nothing to be embarrassed about. And he encouraged me to speak up. And I found it hypocritical to run a charity on domestic violence and trafficking and sexual abuse and not admit that I was abused as a child and as a teenager. So, I was sexually abused when I was 5 in Pakistan by the cook. There were 3 incidents, and then again at 9, and then I was raped at 14 in Miami by a 17-year-old boy. Yes, so 7 years ago, we used to have a very tiny office where I would meet the victims and do their intakes. Intakes means I learn about what the crime is. So we're the second responders. So when the crime happens, the police sends the victim to me, to the office, to do an intake. I learn about what happened, how I can help her, assess her. Is she able, if she's, let's say, from Haryana, and is she able to go to school, or is she someone who can work in an Indian grocery store and stock up inventory? So I have to do those intakes. So it was a Saturday afternoon, and I was alone in the office. I was doing accounting for No More Tears, and a trafficker walked in with a gun, came straight up to me, pointed it at my head, and he said, "Stay the F away from my woman, or I will blow your head off." And he took off, and I just froze. And then the next day, my car was destroyed. He found out where I lived, and I had to physically move from one county to another county to protect myself. Then when I go to court as a victim advocate with these abusers, I've been spit on, I've been called a terrorist because I'm Muslim. I've been told by an abuser that I will cut you into tiny pieces and throw you in the trash can. So I get death threats, emails, phone calls all the time, but it's part of the territory. It comes with the work we do. There's no escaping. And I'm not trying to sound like a saint or someone who's really conceited, but if I die doing this work, it is worth it for me, because my sole existence, having grown up in a home with domestic violence, having been someone who has endured immense trauma from the age of 5, if I lose my life doing this work, it is worth every minute of it, because as you know, Bharti, you and I and the whole world are not going to eradicate domestic violence, child abuse, human trafficking, any of that, hate crimes, any of that in our lifetime. There's progression, there's vast progression, but we're not there yet. But I refuse to sit at home and do nothing about it. Absolutely. My dad is very concerned, and my mom, and they have actually not talked to me for a couple of months because they got mad at me after the gun incident. And they said it's time to shut down, no more tears. And I told them, try to calm them down. And I said, look, this is my calling in life. We all need a purpose in life, right? We all have to have a purpose. So my purpose is to save lives. And it's very selfless. I mean, it's very selfish. I'm sorry. It's not selfless. It's very selfish because I heal through helping the other person, whether it's a woman or a child or a man. I see myself in them. So it's a very selfish thing that I'm doing. And there's no altruism here. I try to calm my mom and dad down. The only thing that my parents are worried about is the gun incident, and they're afraid that one day I'm going to get stabbed or shot doing this work. But like I said, if that's going to happen, if that's in my destiny, so be it. I'm not going to stop. It makes me happy is why I'm doing it. If goli lag jaye, stab ho jaye, mar jaye, sab chalega. Koi baat nahi. This is what God has put me on this planet to do. And as far as materialism, I was a complete misfit in India. I grew up in a home where my father was very wealthy. We lived in a 28-bedroom mansion. We had a studio on the first floor. My father was a cameraman. He started out as a cameraman. He made his first $1 million through his first film, actually, in Pakistan. He was a film producer, director. He had an ad agency. Money doesn't mean anything to me except when it comes to No More Tears, because we need the donations so we can save more lives. I'm a homebody. I'm single. I'm not attracted to shiny objects. That being said, diamonds. I am not, I'm a very, I live, minimal stuff makes me happy. Small things make me happy. I don't shop a lot. Honestly, Monday through Sunday, my time goes with victims. I really don't have time. But materialism has zero value for me in my life. It means nothing. What means for me as a person is be good, don't hurt others. If you are blessed, and this is going out to every celebrity that watches this or every human being that watches this, if you are blessed in the slightest, you have to give back. It's like paying rent on this planet. You have to give back. It is very important to give back. We are all selfish by nature, but there are levels of selfishness. And we need to bring that self level a notch down a little. And, we've been in lockdown the whole time. Why not pick a charity? It doesn't have to be No More Tears. Pick any charity and do something. Help others. There's so many people in India that need help. And I'm telling you, it's a high like no other. It's such a good feeling. I believe in the institution of marriage because I think it's an institution that you cannot wait to get in. And once you're in, you cannot wait to get out. And I'm quoting one of my favorite writers. So I don't believe in marriage. I think marriage is just a piece of paper. Not marriage, no. No, I think that ship has sailed at 24. I don't believe in marriage. If I find a partner, yes, but the partner has to understand that I get calls at 2 a.m. at night from police officers saying we need you because we have a victim from India who only speaks Hindi, and I speak Hindi fluently. I can read and write Urdu. I can't read Hindi, but I can, Hindi, Urdu is the same. So if I get a call at 3 a.m., my partner that I don't have at the moment and have no intention of having anytime soon, has to understand that my job entails getting up at 3 in the morning in my pajamas and going to the police department to talk to this woman who's brought here from India and needs translation services, and I have to tell the cops what happened to her because she's filled with bruises and she can't explain what happened to her. So I'll give you an example. Pre-COVID, our calls were 15 to 20 a day for help, referrals from the police department. So we're the second responder. Crime happens, those are the first responders. No More Tears is the second responder. They call me, they say, okay, we have a victim, she's beaten up, we need you to put her in your shelter. And then, we provide a barrage of services. I'm sorry, what was your second question?
Or the kind of background that those women come, who actually are subjected to violence.
We have a lot of South Asians, Middle Eastern victims, a lot of Middle Eastern and South Asian victims, because what happens, our culture, Pakistani Indian culture is the same. And again, going back to the separation was ridiculous. It was preposterous. It caused more harm than good. And I'm very anti the fact that we had to separate because we're all one people. South Asians, the problem with that is because they don't have a social support network here when they come here to Miami or to America. And No More Tears is a rare nonprofit where the founder, speaks Hindi and Urdu. So they always reach out to us. And my mom, who's originally, her background is Middle Eastern, so, then we get the Middle Eastern victims also. Now, the problem with South Asian victims, I've actually had a call with a woman where I've said, Auntie, aapke son-in-law ne aapki beti ka haath jalte chulhe pe rakh diya. तो हम चाह रहे हैं कि हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आपकी बेटी को वापस जो है जलंधर भेजे. तो उन्होंने she said, देखो बेटा, हमारे पास 3 और बच्चियां हैं जिनकी हमें शादी करनी है, तो तुम उसको वहीं रखो. And so my job then is very complicated because I have this young girl whose hand is completely burned and the mother is refusing to bring her back while we're willing to pay the plane ticket because she has 3 more daughters to wed. And that's the stuff that I have to deal with. Fortunately, this woman has a master's degree. She lives in Canada. She's remarried. She's a monthly donor. And, she went through our program and she's doing very well. But it was only because of No More Tears' educational program that she was able to succeed. So I see horrifying, horrible things all day long. There's another aspect to No More Tears, and that is called the dark web. The dark web is where children are being sold. So our youngest victim was a 2-year-old girl who was being sold by her parents for sex because they were addicted to drugs. And the more money they would get, the more sexual acts they would commit on this child. So that's called the dark web. So I'm seeing really horrifying, very horrible things all day long. And that makes my motivation and my inspiration to do this work even stronger. It gives me more fuel to the fire. I want to do more because of what I see, what I witness every day. I would not want anyone to see because it's very horrible. And as a victim advocate, as the founder and president of this nonprofit, I have to read each police report in detail. And the graphic details that I see and hear, I mean, they're appalling. They're appalling. It is unbelievable to me that a human being is able to commit such heinous crimes to another child or man, a woman, or an animal. It's unbelievable. It's called working out.
It is crazy.
It's called working out, and a couple of glasses of red wine now and then help.
It is disturbing, yeah.
No, it is. It's very heavy work. It's very heavy work, but I have good friends. I have friends that do the same thing that I do. I have victim advocate friends. We get together, you know, on a Friday night, let's say, and I have a support system. So we talk about the survivors. We watch movies. You know, my new crush is Rami Malek. So I watch all of Rami Malek's songs and his interviews and all that stuff. But yeah, I have a support system, and you have to have a balance, right? But again, my priority right now, and has been for the past 14 years, no more tears. And nothing else can overrule that. Absolutely.